If you sit in your living room and something just feels off, not ugly, not broken, just off, this video is for you. I've helped restyle hundreds of living rooms, and here's the thing nobody tells you. It's almost never the sofa. It's almost never the paint color. It's the small, overlooked habits. Where the furniture sits, what's on the coffee table, what kind of light is hitting the room at 7 p.m., whether your rug is even the right size. These are the things you stop noticing after living with them for a year, but a guest clocks the second they walk in. And the frustrating part is, most people respond to that off feeling by buying something new, a new sofa, a new rug, a new accent chair, when the actual problem was never the furniture at all. Today, I'm walking you through 8 living room game changers that cost almost nothing. Most of them are completely free. A few cost under $40, and none of them require new furniture, a designer, or a weekend of hauling things to the dump. We're counting down from 8 to 1, and the impact gets bigger the further down we go. Stick around for number 1. It's the free fix that instantly makes a room feel bigger and more intentional, and almost nobody does it because it feels wrong until you actually try it. Let's get into it. Number 8. Mismatched tired throw pillow covers. Pillows are the first thing your eye lands on when you walk into a living room, and most people never think about them again after the sofa was delivered. Worn covers, mismatched patterns from 3 different decorating phases, flat inserts that have lost their shape, it all quietly signals nothing in this room has been touched in years. And because pillows sit right at eye level on your main seating, they control the whole room's first impression more than almost anything else. More than the sofa itself, honestly, more than the wall color behind it. A friend of mine had a beautiful gray sofa that somehow still looked tired. Turned out it was 4 unrelated pillow covers doing all the damage, each one bought separately over the years without ever being planned together. We swapped them for 3 covers in 2 coordinating tones, sized up to 20-inch inserts instead of the flat 16-inch ones that came with the sofa, and the entire sofa looked brand new by that evening, even though nothing structural had changed at all. Here's how it's done. Pick 2 to 3 tones from the same color family, mix textures instead of patterns, a boucle, a linen, a knit, and size up your inserts so the covers look full, not deflated. Odd numbers work better than even ones, so go with 3 or 5 pillows total rather than an even pair. Budget $25 to $45 for a full set. A quick tip, buy the covers, not new pillow inserts if your current inserts are still in decent shape. Covers alone run $8 to $15 each and give you the exact same visual upgrade for a fraction of the price. Number 7 is something running above your head right now, and it's quietly working against every other thing you've decorated. Number 7. One harsh overhead light. A single ceiling fixture feels normal because that's just how the room came wired. It's functional, it's bright, and those people never question it because there's genuinely nothing broken about it. But one flat overhead light is one of the loudest "this room was never actually styled" signals there is. It flattens everything underneath it, kills shadow and warmth, and makes even a freshly decorated room look like a showroom nobody actually lives in, all lit up like an operating theater instead of a place to relax. I walked into a living room that had a new rug, new art, new everything, and it still felt cold and unfinished, and the homeowner couldn't figure out why. The culprit was one bright white overhead bulb doing all the lighting on its own, with nothing else in the room contributing any warmth or depth. We added a floor lamp in the corner and a small table lamp on the console, switched every bulb to warm white, and turned the overhead light off entirely except when cleaning. The room felt like a completely different space by that night, and she said it was the cheapest change that made the biggest difference out of everything she'd tried. Add at least 2 additional light sources at different heights, a floor lamp and a table lamp, and switch every bulb in the room to warm white, 2700 to 3000 K, not daylight white, which is the single most common mistake people make without realizing it. Turn the overhead light off and let the lamps do the work in the evening, layering light at different heights rather than blasting one source from the ceiling. Budget, $20 to $40 for bulbs and 1 extra lamp if you don't already own one. Number 6 is sitting in the middle of your room right now, completely empty, and you've probably stopped seeing it. Number 6, a bare, undressed coffee table. An empty coffee table feels tidy, so most people assume that's the goal. But a completely bare surface in the middle of your main seating area actually reads as unfinished, not clean, like the room stopped mid-decorating and nobody ever came back to finish it. It's one of the fastest, cheapest styling wins in the entire house because you're not buying furniture, you're just using what's already sitting in a drawer or cupboard somewhere in your home. A client of mine had a gorgeous coffee table that just sat there, empty, every single day for over a year. We added one tray to anchor it, a stack of 2 books, and a small candle from her own cupboard. Nothing new was purchased, not one single item. The table went from looking forgotten to looking like it belonged in a magazine in about 4 minutes of actual work. Add a tray to anchor everything so it doesn't look scattered across the surface. Stack 2 or 3 books, and add one organic element, a candle, a small plant, a bowl with something textural in it. Keep it asymmetrical, not perfectly centered, since perfect symmetry tends to look staged rather than lived in. Budget, $0 to $25, depending on what you already own. Number 5 is a habit almost everyone has, and it's quietly making your whole living room feel unfinished. Number 5. Leaving every corner empty. Empty corners feel like open space, so most people assume that's a good thing. More room to breathe, less clutter to deal with. But a living room with bare corners actually reads as unbalanced, not spacious. Your eye keeps searching for something to land on and never finds it, which is why some rooms feel busy and calm at the same time, in a way that's hard to explain until you actually fix it and feel the difference. A homeowner I worked with had a large, mostly empty living room that felt cold no matter how she arranged the seating, no matter how many times she rearranged the sofa and chairs. We moved a floor lamp into one bare corner and a tall plant into the opposite one. Nothing bought new, both pulled from other rooms in her house where they weren't doing much work. Instantly, the room felt intentional instead of half-furnished, like someone had actually planned it. Anchor at least 2 corners with something tall, a floor lamp, a tall plant, a leaning mirror. Height is the key. Low, small objects won't do the job here, since the eye needs something to travel upward toward. Budget, $0 if you're repurposing items you own, up to $35 for a plant. Number 4 is underneath your feet, and almost everyone gets the size wrong without realizing it. Number 4. A rug that's too small. An undersized rug feels like a small, harmless detail. It's still a rug, it's still doing its job of covering the floor. But a rug that's too small for the seating area is one of the most common reasons a living room feels cheap or disconnected, even when every other piece in the room is expensive. It visually chops the floor into pieces instead of pulling the whole seating area together into one cohesive zone. A friend swapped nothing but her rug, same sofa, same chairs, same everything else in the room, and the whole room suddenly looked like it had been professionally arranged by someone who knew what they were doing. The rule that fixed it: front legs of every piece of furniture should sit on the rug, not floating off the edge onto bare floor. If buying a new rug isn't in the budget yet, layer a large, cheap jute or flat weave rug underneath your existing one to extend the footprint instantly without replacing anything. Aim for every sofa and chair to have at least its front legs on the rug, even if the back legs sit off it. Budget, $30 to $60 for a large layering rug. Number 3 is the wall you look at every single day and have probably stopped seeing entirely. Number 3. One big blank wall. A blank wall feels safe. It's clean, it's neutral, nothing about it is technically wrong, so it tends to stay empty for years, sometimes the entire time you live in a house, always on the list of things to deal with eventually. But one large, undecorated wall in a living room is one of the quietest reasons a room feels unfinished, even when the furniture, the rug, and the lighting are all sorted and working well together. A client had a huge blank wall behind her sofa that she'd been meaning to deal with for 2 years, always putting it off for another day. We didn't buy new art. We pulled 3 frames she already owned from other rooms, grouped them off-center above the sofa, and that wall became the first thing every guest commented on when they walked in. Group 2 to 4 pieces of art, mirrors, or even framed fabric off-center rather than perfectly symmetrical, and hang the lowest edge roughly 6 to 8 inches above the sofa back so it feels connected to the furniture rather than floating separately. Budget, $0 if repurposing frames you own, up to $50 for a few affordable prints. Number 2 is a habit that quietly makes a room feel cluttered, even when it's technically clean. Number 2, cluttered, unstyled shelves. Shelves fill up gradually. A book here, a candle there, a random gift you didn't know where else to put, until one day they're just visual noise nobody actually looks at anymore, just background clutter your eyes learn to skip over. Overstuffed, unedited shelves are one of the fastest ways to make an otherwise nice living room feel busy and unfinished at the same time, even in a room that's technically been decorated. A homeowner I worked with had shelves packed edge to edge with years of accumulated odds and ends, nothing removed since the day she moved in. We removed roughly half of it, boxed some for storage, and donated the rest, grouped what remained in threes, and left visible breathing room between groupings. Nothing was purchased. The shelf just went from looking cluttered to looking curated, like a deliberate display instead of a storage dump. Remove roughly a third to half of what's currently on your shelves, group remaining items in odd numbers, and vary the height of each grouping using books as risers under smaller objects. Leave visible empty space. It's doing as much work as the objects themselves, giving the eye somewhere to rest. Budget, $0. Number 1 on this list isn't a decoration at all. It's the layout most people never question, and it's completely free. Number 1. Furniture pushed against every wall. This is the fix I mentioned in the opening, the one that instantly makes a room feel bigger and more intentional, and almost nobody does it. Because pushing everything to the walls feels like the safe way to maximize space, the way most of us were taught to arrange a room without ever being told why. But a living room where every piece hugs the perimeter actually feels smaller, not bigger, and it kills conversation because nothing is angled toward anything else. Everyone ends up sitting in a row, facing the same direction, like a waiting room instead of a living room. A friend of mine had a large living room that somehow felt awkward and cold despite nice furniture. Every piece was pressed against a wall, facing the TV and nothing else, with dead, unused space sitting right in the middle of the room. We floated the sofa a few feet off the back wall, angled the 2 armchairs slightly toward each other instead of straight ahead, and moved the coffee table to sit centered between them. No furniture was purchased, not a single new item. The room instantly felt like a space designed for people to actually sit and talk to each other, not just stare at a screen in silence. Pull your sofa at least a few inches off the wall if space allows. Angle chairs toward the sofa rather than lining them up straight against the walls, and make sure your layout creates a real conversation zone, not just a row of seats facing a TV. Even a small room benefits from a few inches of breathing room behind the sofa. It doesn't need to be a mansion for this to work. Budget, $0. This is furniture you already own, just moved. That's number 1. And if your living room has felt a little off for a while now without you being able to say exactly why, this is usually where it starts. None of these 8 game changers require new furniture, a designer, or a big weekend project. Most of them are free, and the ones that aren't cost under $40. And here's the pattern worth remembering. The living rooms that feel expensive aren't the ones with the biggest budget. They're the ones where small, deliberate choices were made, instead of just leaving things exactly as they landed the day you moved in. A tray on a coffee table, a rug sized right, a sofa floated a few inches off the wall. None of these are secrets. They're just the details people skip because nobody ever told them they mattered. Until now. If you take away one thing from this video, let it be this. You don't need new furniture to make your living room feel new again. You just need to rearrange, edit, and layer what you already have, and give yourself permission to actually use the things sitting in your other rooms and cupboards instead of buying something new. So tell me, which of these 8 are you guilty of right now? And which one are you fixing first this weekend? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one and I try to reply to as many as I can. And if you want more free ways to make your home look completely redesigned without spending anything, subscribe. There's a lot more of this coming, including a full room-by-room series after this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.